Hi, 7th grade. Today we are going to move into chapter 12, lesson 1, which is on 3D figures. If you open your books to chapter 12, lesson 1, which is on page 454, you'll see that there is a plethora of highlighted words. Go ahead and pause now. You need to put them all in your notes. And if you're ready, I'm going to continue, but I'm only going to go over them briefly. So you'll need to put these in your notes. Here we go. We have a face. A face is a flat surface. An edge is the intersection of two faces. It's where they meet. Okay, so if we had a cube, which we've got a square. A cube is a prism that's made out of squares. So if we draw one, we want to draw two squares, and then we want to connect all the corners. So we have like a 3D looking object, right? And so this front, this here is a face, right? Because it's flat. You know, we could set something on that, okay? And so then, and this on the side, you know? If this was a Kleenex box, right? Like right here, and this was the tissue that came out. I'm not the best drawer, but you feel me, right? If this was another side, we could turn it, and this is also a face. So any flat side is a face. And where they meet, this corner right here, that's the edge, okay? The edge. And then later we have the points where they all meet. These points are the vertices. These are all examples of vertex, a vertice. Okay, so the edge is, you know, the whole line, not the corner. We don't want it to look like it's the corner. Okay. Okay. Back to our list. The prism. A prism is a 3D shape with two parallel congruent faces. The base or the face, it's like, that's where the shape is. So in like a triangular prism, the triangle is on the top and bottom, and those are the parallel congruent faces that we're talking about. A base is any polygonal face, so that will give you the shape, you know, whether it's like an octagon or a hexagon or a triangle, it's going to be that base, that top or bottom. The height is the length of that segment, okay? So this is perpendicular, so it's going to be like this here, this top, the top of our Kleenex is the polygonal base. It's a top or a bottom. And then the edge between the two, this is where the height would be. That's where the height is, because this line is perpendicular to our parallel polygons. Okay. A cube. A cube is a rectangular prism with all faces that are square, right? They're all the same measure. A cylinder has two congruent parallel bases that are circles. A cylinder, think of like a soda can, can of soup, can of anything, right, is a cylinder. The top and bottom are the same. They're congruent, and they're circles. A pyramid, triangular faces that meet at one vertex. Okay, so the triangle sides come up, and they meet at the top point. The vertex is the point where faces meet. Okay, so all those. A cone Think of an ice cream cone or a construction cone. It has a circular base and it has one vertex at the top. And then a sphere, it has no bases, it has no vertices, everything is floating around the same space. And the definition in your book says, it's a set of all points in space that are the same distance from a center point. Okay. So the one thing we want to start working on is drawing these shapes. So if you haven't tried before, hopefully now you'll have the time to maybe get good at that. So here's my, again, I'm not an artist, but here's my suggestions, okay? To draw a cube, first draw the square, okay? And then draw a second one. So here's my first one. And then I drew a second one. I just moved it up. I have graph paper, which is helpful, right? To making it seem more square, but it doesn't have to be. And then you just connect the corners, okay? Connect the corners. So after I moved it over, I met the top left to the top left, the top right to the top right, the bottom right to the bottom right, the bottom left to the bottom left, okay? And then I gave it that 3D shape. When I connect my corners, I do dotted lines and then I go over the outside ones and make them look solid to try to help. Okay, try to make it look like it's... All right, let's try another one. Make sure I'm on here. Okay, draw a prism. So again, this one's a triangular prism, so that means we have two congruent parallel shapes, so the top and the bottom. And we're gonna do the same thing. Start with one, pick the way you want your triangle to look, okay? So it doesn't have to, it could be a 90-degree angle, it can be isosceles, whatever you want it to look like, whatever you decide is your top. You wanna do exactly that again as best you can on the bottom. My bottom turned out a little bit larger. And then you're gonna do the same thing. You're just gonna connect the corners. So the left side to the left side, the top to the top, the right side to the right side. And it makes it pop, okay? Again, if there's not anything behind it, I try to make those ones solid to try to make it look more 3D. But again, you'll get the hang of it. You'll play around with it. For homework tonight, I'm going to ask you to do the first 14 problems on page 456. And I'd like you to draw the pictures when they have them. Okay, so some of them are asking you to draw figures, so you obviously have to do it then. But if you see one and you're supposed to name it, just try your best. Okay? Thanks, guys.